Hello, what's going on? What's up, everybody? What is going on the Real Sports Talk? What's good on the internet, in sports and in life? I'm Akeem Balaam, and forgive me and forgive us rather, for being late on this by about a week. But earlier this week, huge Olympics-related news broke as it was announced that the International Olympic Committee indeed dropped the oldest Olympic sport, wrestling, from the 2020 Olympics program. Now, there's been some statements made by people within the International Olympic Committee, Jacques Rogge, and everybody else in Lausanne, that there's a possibility that maybe it's not being completely dropped, quote unquote. I'm just paraphrasing what they're saying, but there's been some statements made that it may not be completely dropped. But at this point, if they're going to drop it from the Olympic program, then basically it's going to be dropped from the Olympic program for the 2020 Olympic Games. Now, it does have a shot to eventually return, but there are a lot of sports that are being considered as far as what could be on the Olympic program for 2020, and one of those happens to include a joint bid between baseball and softball. So it looks like that wrestling is in trouble as far as the Olympics. I don't like this one bit. I hate to see any sport get dropped from the Olympics, because I just don't have, I don't have a one-dimensional view of things like a lot of people in the media. I don't have this uber-American or this uber-Canadian view of things. I like to look at things from an international standpoint. And from an international standpoint, there are a lot of countries that are huge on Olympic wrestling. A lot of countries. And this may wind up benefiting, and this may not even wind up benefiting the United States, even from that standpoint, because the United States, even though it's not the most covered sport by NBC and others here in the United States, but wrestling is huge. Olympic-style wrestling is huge in the United States of America. So that's why some are interpreting this as, once again, as another shot at the United States. So there are all these sports that could be on the program. Once again, baseball, softball, a joint bid. There's also talk that squash may wind up making a bid. Rock climbing may wind up making a bid. And there are a lot of criticism is that, okay, you're gonna nix wrestling, which has more participants from more countries, but keep modern pentathlon, which doesn't have as many participants from many countries. That's certainly a fair criticism. But what I really don't like about it is that a lot of colleges and universities that are already cash-strapped enough, they're going to start cutting back on their wrestling programs as well as a result of this, because a lot of these colleges and universities in the United States of America make money off of two sports only: football and football and basketball. Football and basketball funds are able to subsidize their other athletic programs, like, say, wrestling or softball or gymnastics or swimming or something like that. So really, the fact that the IOC has dropped wrestling from the 2020 program, it means that wrestling fans across the world who love to see wrestling in the Olympics, they're the ones getting screwed. College and high school kids who have dreams of eventually reaching an Olympics, because a lot of wrestling participants in the Olympics can be as young as 16 years old, they're the ones getting screwed out of this as well. But what I really want to look at is, why weren't we advocating for this back last year during the London Olympics? Where was the press? Where was the press? I mean, I was out, during the London Olympics, as I observed and as I was a part of the Real Sports Talks coverage, I was observing tweets from media types, and it seemed like, okay, they were going ahead and talking about sports that were in the Olympics, and they were trying to talk about, oh, why is archery an Olympic sport instead of baseball and softball? Or why is the modern pentathlon? Or why is equestrian? Or why is the dressage an Olympic sport instead of baseball or softball? Everybody was talking about baseball and softball, and they forgot about other sports like wrestling, like judo, like taekwondo, like badminton, like gymnastics, like the swimming competitions, like the track and field competitions, like the 100-meter dash and the shot put and everything else that goes into the Olympics. everybody all of a sudden forgot about that because everybody was going absolutely crazy about baseball and softball. Now, some of these same media people who wanted baseball and softball back in the Olympics are now all of a sudden crying boo-hoo-hoo over the fact that wrestling is gone. Those are the hypocrites. The wrestling fans out there are not the hypocrites because they are committed to their respective Olympic sport. The hypocrites in this whole thing are the media, because these same media types, because I believe that the actual vote is going to happen very soon as to which new sport is going to be part of the 2020 Olympics program. By the way, there are 3 cities bidding for the Olympics for 2020. Tokyo, Japan, Istanbul, Turkey, and Madrid, Spain. Madrid, Spain is bidding for the 3rd consecutive time after losing out on 2012, which went to London, after losing out on 2016, which went to Rio. Now Madrid's trying for it again, and thanks to some financial constraints, Madrid is seen as a distant 3rd behind Tokyo and Istanbul. Tokyo right now is looked at as the favorite. I'm going to, closer to the actual Olympic vote, I'm actually going to be doing videos looking at all 3 bids. But aside from that, those are the 3 cities that are bidding for the 2020 Olympics. But as far as wrestling goes, these same media types who wanted baseball back and softball back in the Olympics, they're going to look like hypocrites if baseball and softball are voted in for the 2020 program, because these same people that wanted baseball, the same people that are crying boo-hoo over wrestling, will be praising and high-fiving and attaboying the International Olympic Committee if it is indeed baseball and softball that wins out over all of these other sports to once again make it back into the Olympics on the 2020 Olympic program. So, hypocrites in the media, it stinks for it stinks for wrestling at the collegiate level, at the amateur level, at the high school level, and I just feel for them, because I just feel like, once again, the Olympics are screwing over the little man just to make way for the big boys. So, once again, I'm late on this. We're late on this by about a week, but I just had to get this out and make a video on it, on the fact that wrestling, the oldest Olympic sport going all the way back to the ancient Olympics when they began in 1896 in Athens, Greece, dropped from the Olympic program for the 2020 games. So, what you think about this? Rate, comment, react, reply, add, and subscribe. What you think about wrestling being dropped and the prospect of baseball, softball coming back for 2020 once again? I'm just one guy. We're just a few guys talking sports here on The Real Sports Talk. My name is Akeem Balaam, saying see you on the internet somewhere.